It was August 1942. The world was engulfed in the flames of World War II. Far from the battlefields of Europe and the Pacific Islands, off the coast of California, a strange event was about to unfold. An airship, a United States Navy blimp, prepared to take to the skies. Its crew was seasoned, ready for what seemed like a routine patrol mission. But this particular flight would deviate sharply from the ordinary. It was destined to become a persistent puzzle, a baffling mystery whispered down through the decades. History would come to know it as the Ghost Blimp incident, the tale of an airship that returned, but without its human pilots. The global conflict cast a long shadow of fear. This fear was a constant, unwelcome companion, especially for those living on the vulnerable coastlines. People anxiously watched the vast expanse of the seas, ever vigilant for the telltale signs of enemy submarines. The United States Navy employed a diverse array of tools and strategies to guard its extensive shores. Among these were the blimps, the lighter-than-air ships. These gentle giants, filled with helium, floated serenely above the ocean waves. They served as the Navy's eyes in the sky, diligently searching for lurking dangers below. Their missions were of vital importance, a crucial part of the nation's defense. The particular blimp involved in this enigma was designated L-8. It was a proud member of the United States Navy's Pacific Fleet Airship Squadron. Its primary assignment was anti-submarine patrol, a critical task in protecting shipping lanes. It achieved its lift from buoyant helium gas, allowing it to hover and drift silently. Suspended beneath its massive envelope was a small cabin, technically called a gondola. This gondola was the nerve center of the blimp, where the crew would sit. From this vantage point, they meticulously scanned the seemingly endless Pacific Ocean stretching out beneath them. The L-8 was well equipped for its demanding task, a modern marvel of its time. Two experienced naval aviators were entrusted with the L-8 on that fateful August day. Lieutenant Ernest DeWitt Cody served as the blimp's pilot and commander. Ensign Charles Adams was his capable co-pilot and navigator. Both men were skilled in their roles. They possessed a thorough understanding of their airship and its systems. They were also acutely aware of the inherent dangers associated with wartime patrols over the ocean. They were, by all accounts, prepared for their duty. Or so it appeared. Their mission commenced like countless others before it. It would, however, conclude as an enduring, unsolved mystery. The specific mission for the blimp L-8 on the morning of August 16, 1942, was straightforward and clearly defined. It was tasked with a routine patrol flight. The primary objective was to search for any signs of Imperial Japanese Navy submarines. These enemy underwater vessels posed a very real and significant threat to Allied shipping and coastal security. The L-8 gracefully lifted off from its base on Treasure Island, located in San Francisco Bay, in the early hours of the morning. The weather conditions were reported as calm. The surface of the vast Pacific Ocean looked deceptively peaceful. Everything initially pointed towards a standard, uneventful surveillance flight. But the ocean, as always, often hides its deepest secrets well. For the first few hours of the patrol, all operations seemed to proceed normally. The L-8 maintained regular radio contact with its base. The crew diligently reported their position and observations as per protocol. At one point, they even reported spotting a suspicious oil slick on the water's surface. This type of slick could potentially indicate the presence of a submerged submarine. They communicated that they were descending to investigate this sighting more closely. This transmission occurred at approximately 7:42 in the morning. This message would tragically become one of their last known communications. After this point, an unsettling silence began to creep in. The vast sky embraced them, but their voices mysteriously faded away. Later that same morning, something profoundly strange and unexpected occurred. The L-8 blimp was sighted again by observers on the ground. However, it was not in its designated patrol area, nor was it behaving as expected. It was seen drifting erratically, seemingly without any directional control from a crew. It slowly, almost lazily, descended towards the California coastline. Eventually, the large airship came down, not in an open field, but directly onto a residential street in Daly City, a suburban town situated just south of San Francisco. It struck a power line and then settled onto the pavement, startling the local residents. The giant airship had returned, but something was terribly, inexplicably wrong with its homecoming. People from the neighborhood, drawn by the commotion, rushed to the scene of the crash. Firefighters and police officers arrived quickly thereafter. They were confronted by the sight of the partially deflated blimp, its massive envelope draped over cars and utility poles. The gondola, the crew cabin, had sustained some damage from the impact with the ground, but the biggest shock, the most chilling discovery, was yet to come. Authorities cautiously approached and looked inside the cabin. It was utterly empty. Lieutenant Cody was gone. Ensign Adams was also gone. The two-man crew had vanished, seemingly into thin air. The blimp had returned from its patrol, but its human occupants had not. The discovery of the empty gondola was profoundly baffling to everyone involved. The immediate and pressing question was, where were the pilots? An extensive search and rescue operation was launched without delay. The United States Navy, along with the Coast Guard, scoured the vast ocean surface in the blimp's last known patrol area. They meticulously searched the rugged coastline, hoping for any sign of the missing aviators. There was hope that Cody and Adams had perhaps managed to parachute out to safety, or perhaps they were adrift at sea awaiting rescue on their life raft. But the determined search parties found absolutely nothing. No bodies, no deployed parachutes, no debris, no trace whatsoever of the two men. The mystery deepened with every fruitless passing hour. Naval investigators began a meticulous examination of the recovered L-8 blimp. They were desperate to find any clue, however small, any hint that might explain what had transpired high above the Pacific. Inside the gondola, they found a scene that was strangely, almost unnervingly in order. The two parachutes, standard emergency equipment, were still there, neatly stowed and completely untouched. The emergency life raft was also in its designated place, still packed and unused. This was deeply puzzling. If the crew had faced some dire emergency or imminent danger, why had they not utilized this life-saving equipment? It strongly suggested they hadn't prepared for or executed an emergency exit from the airship. The blimp itself, apart from the damage sustained during its uncontrolled landing in Daly City, was in remarkably good condition. There were no signs of any enemy fire. No bullet holes riddled its envelope or gondola, and there was no evidence of any explosion or fire having occurred while airborne. Furthermore, there were no indications of a struggle or any kind of violent altercation inside the crew cabin. The flight controls appeared to be in working order. The blimp's engines had sufficient fuel remaining. In fact, one engine was found to be switched off, while the other was set to idle as if awaiting further command. It was as if the crew had simply evaporated into the ether, leaving their vessel behind. The scene painted a picture of calm abandonment, not a desperate crisis. Some specific details noted by the investigators were particularly strange and fueled further speculation. The main door of the gondola was found to be unlatched and slightly ajar. This was highly unusual, as it was standard procedure to keep it secured during flight for safety. A safety bar, normally in place across the open doorway if it were opened in flight, was not secured in its position. Critically, highly sensitive classified documents and code books were still aboard, untouched and safe. A microphone dangled from its cord, as if it had been recently used or dropped suddenly. Some early reports even sensationally claimed that a cup of coffee found in the cabin was still warm. These small, disparate details hinted at a sudden, unplanned and very mysterious departure from the blimp by its crew. Many theories have been proposed over the decades in an attempt to explain the inexplicable disappearance of Lieutenant Cody and Ensign Adams. One of the most common and plausible ideas points towards a tragic accident. Perhaps one of the crewmen needed to perform an external check or adjust some piece of equipment outside the gondola. He might have lost his footing or balance and fallen from the airship. The other crewman, witnessing this horrifying event, might have then tried to help his colleague, perhaps by leaning out too far or attempting a risky maneuver, and consequently, he also fell. This could potentially explain why the gondola door was found open. However, no bodies were ever recovered from the ocean below the Blimp's presumed flight path, which leaves this theory with lingering unanswered questions. Another category of theories suggests a secret or exceptionally dangerous encounter while on patrol. Could Cody and Adams have spotted an enemy Japanese submarine very close to the surface? Perhaps they descended too low for a closer look, enabling the submarine crew to somehow intercept them. Maybe they were captured by the enemy, a silent abduction at sea, or perhaps they inadvertently stumbled upon spies or some other clandestine operation. This was wartime after all, and the unexpected could always happen. Yet there was absolutely no physical evidence of any enemy action. No distress signal was ever sent from the L8. The Blimp itself bore no marks of being attacked or forced down. This path of reasoning, too, ultimately leads to a frustrating uncertainty. Then, inevitably, there are the more unusual and speculative ideas that have emerged over time. Some have wondered about freak weather phenomena or strange, undocumented atmospheric conditions that might have somehow incapacitated or ejected the crew. Others have ventured into the realm of the truly unknown, speculating about encounters with unidentified flying objects or other bizarre, unexplainable events. In the vast landscape of unsolved mysteries, human imagination often tries to fill the void left by a lack of concrete evidence. The L8 ghost blimp case certainly offers plenty of fertile ground for such imaginative speculation. However, these extraordinary ideas remain firmly in the realm of conjecture, unsupported by any tangible proof. So why does the story of the L8 ghost blimp continue to fascinate us, so many decades after the fact? It remains a perfect self-contained mystery. It occurred during a highly dramatic and uncertain period in world history, adding to its mystique. It involves a fascinating piece of aviation technology from its era, the majestic blimp. But most importantly, at its core, it is a profoundly human story. Two men, tasked with protecting their country, vanished without a single trace. Their empty airship returned like a silent spectre, a tangible yet mute testament to their unknown and tragic fate. The incident serves as a stark reminder that even with all our technological advancements and accumulated knowledge, some secrets may remain forever lost, concealed within the vastness of the sky and the depths of the sea.